So people keep asking me what I think about schools reopening. Well, like a lot of teachers I know, I honestly have a lot of questions and a lot of concerns about schools reopening in the midst of a pandemic on the rise. Yet people like Betsy, who has never been a teacher, up there in her high castle with access to daily COVID testing, says there's nothing in the data to suggest it's dangerous for kids to be in school. Nothing. This simply isn't true. Tens of thousands of children have tested positive for COVID. Many of them have gotten really sick. I don't want that to be my child. I don't want that to be your child. The CDC is telling us that reopening schools without strict guidelines in place for social distancing, hygiene, and sanitation puts us all at high risk. Yet again, Betsy, who is also not a doctor or a scientist, calls the CDC's guidelines for schools flexible and refuses to answer any questions on how the recommendations will be maintained. We have adults across the country throwing tantrums because they don't want to maintain social distancing and wear a mask. How can you expect one teacher to keep 25 to 30 students 6 feet apart and in masks 7 hours a day? We teachers have valid concerns, but we're just supposed to go quietly back into our classrooms as more and more people get sick and die. When we closed schools back in March, the numbers weren't even half as bad. How does that make sense? And then I hear government officials attacking teachers, saying we only care about ourselves and not our students. Excuse me? What? We devote our lives to our students. We put our own families and our own health and our own wellness at risk for not nearly enough pay or recognition. And we do it because we love teaching. We love our students. I miss being with my students. I miss my school community. I desperately want to be back in the classroom, but I want us all to be safe even more, both students and adults. Just because we give so much doesn't mean we should be asked to put ourselves and our families at risk. The health and safety of teachers, custodians, cafeteria workers, bus drivers, and other school staff is important. We matter too. Some of my teacher friends are high risk. Others live with high-risk family members. I don't want Mr. Green down the hall to contract the virus at school and bring it home to his wife who just finished cancer treatment. The same is true for my students. COVID could be a death sentence for students with type 1 diabetes or asthma. Yes, even though they are children. I don't ever want to find out that family members of my students have died after an outbreak at school. I'm terrified of my students getting their feelings hurt, let alone dying. And yes, I'm afraid that I'll get sick. I'm scared that somebody in my family will get sick. These are valid concerns, and I am disgusted that my dedication to my students and my country is being questioned. I get it. We're all in a nearly impossible situation. People need to go to work so they can survive, and schools being open makes that easier, but reopening schools right now isn't safe for anyone. And no, teachers can't just quit if they have concerns. We need our jobs too. It's not fair that in order to earn a living to care for my family, I have to put myself and other families at risk by returning to the classroom before it's safe. Students, teachers, and other school staff all deserve to feel safe. And I don't feel safe. Not for myself, not for my kids, not for my coworkers, not for any of our families, yours or mine. I'm a teacher and I'm sad and I'm stressed and I'm worried. But most of all, I'm scared and I'm angry. So many of us are. Those in power are not listening.